Hey, what's up, guys? This is the insane shephardic odaLord, and I'm doing a multiplayer commentary battle for Napoleon Total War. In this battle, I'm in command of the French, the glorious French army here, the Grande Armée, and this is my army here. I'm on the offense initially, and this is my opponent's army, Morocco. He's in command of the Russians, the Tsar's army, and here's his cavalry coming up here. He's actually on the defense in this battle, but he decides to take the offense, and I'm guessing it's due to the number of artillery pieces that I have as opposed to his artillery. We have pretty different armies. He has like his Russian line infantry here and their green jackets. He also has several battalions of grenadiers, whereas I have no grenadiers. He has 4 squadrons of cavalry. I have no cavalry. He has 4 battalions of Streltsy light infantry, whereas I only have 2 battalions of light infantry, the chasseurs. And my opponent advances here. At this point, he takes the initiative to move forward to attack me. And like I said, as far as I know, it's probably due to the fact that he knows that I do have an artillery advantage. I have like twice the amount of artillery that he has, and I also have specialized howitzer cannons, which are fairly effective, especially at long range. So he has a good defensive position, to be honest, but I would have a lot of map control if I were to assault and choose where to fight. This is my vanguard. As you see, that was the Polish Legion, and I'm now moving my columns of the Fusilier columns to my flanks to protect my artillery, which is essentially what my strategy is. My well-trained Polish Legion is on the vanguard, and my Fusiliers of the line are on my flanks. Here I'm moving up my chasseurs, and I'm not very good at pronouncing French, but these are essentially the light infantry units. I'm moving them to my right flank because my opponent's tactic here is he's bringing in these cavalry screens to try to find an opening to strike my artillery, and my whole strategy actually revolves around my artillery. So I'm doing what I can to stop that from happening. The light infantry have a long range, so if he were to charge, but it looks like he's not going to charge, he would inflict some, he would take a lot of casualties. After a few cannon shots, a round shot, he does get his cavalry out of there after, just a few casualties. But at this point, his army is, moving forward and preparing to attack. So at this point, I position all of my artillery on his main force, and my tactic here is to once again protect my artillery and just rain as much hell as I can down on his line here before he engages, and then before I have to choose more like strategic locations to strike with the artillery. But he moves forward here, and notice this is the Streltsy light infantry, Russian Streltsy light infantry. They have green trench coats, as you see here, and his line infantry in the back is also decked out in green here. Now, green. The interesting thing about the Russian military is they actually did always champion the color green for their military uniform. This made them like rather famous, despite the Russian military has been never known for great victories, to be completely honest, but they were known for wearing green coats. But however, this actually changed for a while. in the 18th century, the Tsar of Russia changed the color of the military uniform to blue to emanate a more Germanic style, which at the time the Germanic style of military was, you know, well known and respected. And at this point, as he advances, I just position my line, you know, so they're at a better angle to meet his advance. And again, I'm just pounding down the artillery as he moves forward. Anyway, by the time World War I came around, they were back to green. The Russian military actually did have green uniforms. I think also in the days of Leo Tolstoy, they also did have green uniforms at that time. It was kind of a troll move on behalf of the Tsar that changed the color to blue, and it was undone, you know, after his time had passed. But my opponent is moving forward now, as you see, and I'm gonna focus only on this portion of the battle. Nothing really takes place on my right flank, except for one cavalry charge. But other than that, my opponent attacks only here from the left flank. So we'll have to see how that goes. And yeah, the exploding shots here, the howitzer cannons, very effective artillery. And I do move 2 columns of fusiliers up to my left flank on the hill to prevent any kind of you know, like movement, like flanking maneuver from that hill. That would be assured defeat. But so he comes into range of fire, and the French open fire on the Russian lines, and the battle is now underway. The lines have opened fire on each other. Now, one thing I don't like about Napoleon Total War, Napoleon Total War is a great game. One thing I don't like about it is in Empire Total War you did have rank firing, which was amazing. The first rank would fire, then drop. The second rank would fire, then drop. In Napoleon Total War, for some absurd reason, they took away rank firing. and I don't know if they replaced it, but they put in something called fire in advance, which is completely useless in my opinion. And here, this is really the only action on the right flank. He charges with his cavalry at my line, my fusiliers. And yeah, rank and fire is really like ridiculous. Like they spread out first of all, and it takes forever, so you have plenty of time to just decimate a unit going into fire in advance mode. And it really only works like in like a siege, to be honest. So I have a personal prejudice against how the Creative Assembly removed rank firing in Napoleon Total War. But so my opponent's left flank routes under the heavy concentrated artillery fire and the fire from my line. So this is actually really good, and as you can see here, he's moving up on my left flank, but only his right flank remains. And here my opponent brings in on my left flank his cavalry charge, which in my opinion is probably an attempt to go after my artillery, but I throw my fusiliers into square formation, into Napoleonic squares to preempt his attack here, and it's actually pretty successful. I was happy about that. But and yeah, that looks cool. But so yeah, since his left flank actually routed, they're going to regroup. But since they did rout, I actually repositioned my line. I moved my entire right flank over to the left, and I decided to commence a charge on his remaining infantry before his infantry did regroup, the routing infantry. So here we go. Here's the glorious French charge, the Napoleonic charge here, under fire from the Russian guns. Aha! We are French. And as you see here, the my line infantry on the hill are fairly intact. And the charge commences here on my opponent's middle. And it looks pretty cool. I like the flags waving. yeah, so the charge commences there, and we're gonna have another charge as well. The frame rate is actually really bad due to YouTube and the recording software I use. During the game it wasn't as lagging, but of course YouTube will always cause videos to like lag more than they should. But so he charges forward here. This is a really good charge. The Russian line infantry meets the French Polish Legion. And yeah, the Polish Legion, that's that's actually the infantry that Napoleon did organize to go into Russia with. They were exclusively soldiers from Poland, which is pretty interesting. Like they were, you know, previously part of the Polish military before the partition of Poland. But now my opponent's infantry in the rear has regrouped, as you can see here, and they're coming back into the battle now. While the French Fusiliers and Polish Legion are engaging. And I did move, I moved my chasseurs over to my light infantry over to like the, just a good like vantage point on the right here on that big mess of combat going on. And they did rout that unit, that battalion of Russian line. But his line is now, his regrouped line is now in firing range, and they're gonna open fire immediately. I do turn my guns to strike this you know, like these regrouping Russian columns to force them to retreat. But they are at this point causing some casualties on my troops. This Russian battalion routes in this group to the left here, and so I'm going to use my remaining soldiers to surround the remaining Russian line infantry. And I'm also going to send an expeditionary force up against these regrouped line infantry as well. Yeah, what's very weird is like Russia's like the Russian military. It's not like they weren't respected. I mean, you know, throughout history, the Russian military has known to be particularly ruthless. But the Russian military throughout history has always been very disorganized, and I'm not sure if it comes from the way Russia is or like the system of government, you know, sociologists might say, but the Russian military was just always very disorganized, and it caused their defeat time and time again, unfortunately. For instance, and even up to Soviet era times and World War II, you know, you had 10-on-1 Russian versus German battles, and it was of course no different in this time period. You know, this is a friendly game with my opponent Morocco Mole, so he, after the majority of his army routes, he brings up his artillery here, and we decide to have like a fun last charge. So I pretty much just charge the entire mass of the glorious French Grand Armée straight into the face of fire to take this hill from these Russian cannons. And I also do have my cannons, you know, like firing on the Russian cannons. My light infantry up front. Charge! Yeah. Yeah, the graphics, in my opinion, Napoleon Total War really, it's considered like a new generation Total War game. It pretty much, you know, I think did the best job at graphics as compared to like, you know, previous Total War games. Specifically the naval battles. When I first played Napoleon Total War naval battle, I was particularly impressed. So this is the end of the battle here. As you can see, the French army charges the Russian cannons, and they rout under the immense fire. But definitely good game to my opponent, Morocco Mo, and thank you for watching, and have a great New Year's.